Arcadian Vanguard presents The Wrestling News in your daily wrestling newscast for Friday, November 22nd, 2024. Good morning, I'm Mike Sempervive. We lead today with news from outside the ring. The transition team for President-elect Donald Trump has expressed surprise over discovering that Linda McMahon, Trump's pick for Secretary of Education, is currently a defendant in a lawsuit alleging that she enabled sexual child abuse. The lawsuit, which also names Vince McMahon, WWE, and TKO Group as defendants, is related to the infamous Ring Boy scandal of the 1980s, which alleged that then ring crew chief Mel Phillips groomed and molested young ring attendants, some of them minors, and that the McMahons and WWE ignored it. Journalist B.J. Bethel reported that none of Trump's team was aware of the lawsuit filed last month by 4 former ring attendants. According to Bethel, the lawsuit was not common knowledge within Republican circles nationally or the Trump campaign. Trump personally picked McMahon, who has no background in education, and there was no usual vetting process. When Bethel asked if McMahon's nomination might be pulled, sources within the transition team weren't sure. Wrote Bethel, quote, "Some in the party were shocked at the depth of issues in the company under her leadership, but said Linda is friends with Trump and it would be his decision," end quote. Said McMahon attorney Laura Bravetti, quote, "This civil lawsuit based upon 30-plus-year-old allegations is filled with scurrilous lies, exaggerations, and misrepresentations regarding Linda McMahon. Ms. McMahon will vigorously defend against this baseless lawsuit and without doubt ultimately succeed," end quote. The controversy comes after another of Trump's cabinet nominations, Matt Gaetz, was forced to withdraw yesterday amidst charges of sexual relations with a minor. Trump himself was found liable in a sexual assault and defamation case earlier this year. In ratings news, this week's episode of AEW Dynamite drew a viewership of 640,000 at TBS, according to Programming Insider. That's down from last week's audience of 666,000. The rating in the 18 to 49-year-old demographic was a .20, also down from last week's rating of .22. TNA Wrestling presented Impact last night on Access TV, featuring matches taped on November 8th in Fayetteville, North Carolina. In the main event, Hammerstone, Trent Seven, and Jake Something defeated the Hardy Boys and Ace Austin. Masha Slamovich retained the Knockouts World title against Alicia Edwards in a no disqualification match. Afterwards, Tasha Steelz attacked Slamovich until Jordan Grace made the save. In other results, PCO and Sami Callihan beat the Good Hands. Jody Threat topped Ash by Elegance. JDC and Moose went over Laredo Kid and Leon Slater, and Frankie Kazarian beat Rhino. Ring of Honor streamed last night on Honor Club, featuring matches taped on November 14th in Albany, New York, and on November 7th in Providence, Rhode Island. In the main event, Brian Cage successfully defended the ROH World TV title against AR Fox. ROH World Women's Champion Athena defeated Layla Gray in a non-title proving ground match. In other results, Shingo Takagi beat Arya Davari, Tomohiro Ishii beat Mike Bennett, Kevin Knight defeated Serpentico, Shane Taylor Promotions beat Beef and JD Drake, and Gabe Kidd defeated Angelico. And finally, turning to Japan, New Japan Pro Wrestling held the second night of the 2024 World Tag League yesterday in Funabashi. Winning in Block B matches were the teams of Hiromu Takahashi and Tetsuya Naito, Evil and Ren Narita, Taichi and Takumi Kinoshita, and the Natural Classics. And before we leave you today, we'd like to remind you that however you consume your content, you can find the wrestling news 24 hours a day and 7 days a week across social media. On Twitter, follow us at Wrestling News AV. Our Facebook page is also Wrestling News AV. The Wrestling News can also be found on the Arcadian Vanguard YouTube page. And for those who utilize Amazon Echo devices, just tell Alexa to play the Wrestling News podcast. And remember to make sure you add podcast at the end. Once again, for daily updates, breaking news, and more, follow the Wrestling News across social media. And that's the news for today. If anything happens, we will be here to tell you about it. No clickbait, no paywall, just the Wrestling News. The Wrestling News is a division of Arcadian Vanguard, and the Wrestling Newscast is a production of the Arcadian Vanguard Podcast Network.